Coming up today, we've got a special guest in the studio from the Chelmsford City Foundation. Chris Jullings. We'll be hearing from all the great work they do in the community later on in the show, as well as his successes with the walking football team. That leads us into a new special guest tonight, Chris Jullings from the Chelmsford City Foundation. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks very much, Ben, for inviting us along.
Great to have you here. How did the foundation of the foundation come about?
Well, foundation is a charity. It was incorporated in October 23, so the foundation's relatively young, really, as a new charity. But the idea behind it, I think, is sort of fairly obvious. It's about taking Chelmsford City as a club into the community, but with a very particular focus. So the foundation is about creating social good in the community, and the strapline for the foundation is about using football to change lives one kick at a time, which is a nice line. That is probably the shortest version of why we're here. But probably more interesting is, what does it do? And so the foundation has a number of programs which are focused in different social ways. Some of it is focused into education, some of it is focused towards poverty, and some of those programs, just to bring them alive. So I'll give you 3 or 4 examples. So Footy is a program which is a collaboration with Morrison's, the local Morrison's, and it's about providing a hot meal and some football during half terms. Headphones are just about to come off. Try that. Providing a hot meal and football for a day, generally a Friday, during half terms, for children that perhaps wouldn't otherwise. They may be children that are getting free meals at school, and of course in the school holidays they don't get them. So it's a collaboration to be able to deliver. I'm just adjusting. That's it, I can hear myself better now. The headphones had fallen off. It's about giving those children an opportunity to have some healthy activity, be engaged, but also to have a safe space. We also run what are called the Activate camps. These are Easter, summer, half-term camps in partnership with Essex Activate, which is part of Essex Council, and we deliver about 300 places for the Activate camps during this year so far, and this is about, again, it's aimed at lower income families. Essex Activate make those places available for free. They pay us to deliver those places, and again it provides an opportunity for children to have a safe space, to come to a summer camp where they can play football, they can play other sports as well. But of course it also provides an opportunity for parents to feel comfortable that their children have been looked after, and generally, because they're free, it's quite often it's lower income families who are taking advantage of those facilities. So another, which I'm sure, Ben, you're familiar with because you've seen the guys around, but we also run and support what we call the inclusive football team. These are adults who have pan disability, could have special education needs, and we have about 20 of these guys. We run a training session on a Tuesday night, we run a training session on a Saturday morning, and the guys also play in the Essex Soccerability League. So that's a sort of competitive piece of football for folks that perhaps wouldn't get that opportunity. and the Essex Football League last year, I think they came third in the league, so they did really well. But that is, of course, a focus on their ability, not their disability. So they're three of the programs that we run. I can talk about more now, or I can save them for a little bit later.
Well, have your first choice of music, Chris. City Sports here until 8 o'clock on City Sound, and we've got Chris Jullings in the studio from the Chumps City Foundation, talking all about their work in the community. What was your next port of call, Chris? What's your next?
Well, I think when we went to the break, I was talking about some of the programs, and it would be good, I think, just to finish that piece off in terms of some of the things that the foundation is involved in. So I talked about one of the areas of focus is education. So we work with primary schools. We're in 11 primary schools, and we deliver lunchtime PE services, after-school clubs. Probably be about 300 children a week are going through the lunchtime sessions, 250 doing the PE sessions. A nice spin-off from all of that is, of course, because we work in schools and we work in the community in the way that we do, we're also able to offer, and we have offered 15 work placements to young people who can, come along as coaches and get some work experience. We've also got Clarets in the community, which is something a little different, but it's again working in schools, and it's after school clubs, and we are supporting about 290 children on a weekly basis. And we also run 4 community sessions at public locations in and around Chelmsford in sort of later afternoon and evening time. So quite a big focus on that sector, the education sector, and children. But also recently we've just had some funding from an organisation called Clarion Futures, who have got a focus on social isolation for people who are over 55. And of course, there are a huge number of people at that age and beyond who can find themselves alone for whatever reason. So we've just started up the Clarets Coffee Club, which runs from 11 till 2 on a Thursday at the club. And it's got now about 20 to 25 people that come along, some of them regulars, some people just popping in, popping out. Opportunity to just sit and have a chat if you want to have a chat, play a game. We've got one guy who's teaching people to play backgammon. There's a hot meal for folks that want it. So it's, I guess the thing that comes out of going through some of these programs is that the foundation is focused across a very wide range of age groups, from we have children from 5 to 12 that come to what we call our Comets session, and the Comets session runs on a Monday night. It's just for an hour, but this is specifically for children between 5 and 12 who have a PAN disability or a special education need, and it's fantastic to see those children feel this sense of freedom for much of their life because of perhaps the disability that they have. They don't have that opportunity to express themselves in that way, and of course they get involved in football or some version of it that is right for them, and they experience freedom. But also, of course, the parents have an opportunity to stand aside and have some respite as well. And I'll talk, I suppose, one of the other things that I'll talk about a little bit later is walking football, of course, which is my great passion. But the Walking Football Club is not a part of the foundation, but I guess by virtue of my 2 hats, it's got a very, very close relationship. But it's another group of people who are typically over 50 and generally into being 60 and 70, who are finding, that they're finding a path out of, being alone, getting fitter and all of that. But I'll talk about walking football as a completely separate issue.
It's amazing to me. You've been only going a couple of years, and we've got all this stuff already happening. And it's I think it's a new charity.
Yeah, it is a new charity, but it's got a lot of energy, and I think there are, there are folks that are my colleagues as trustees. We have Linda Mascott, who's a Chelmsford councillor. We've got Gary Folger, who's come on board, who's chairman
Supporters Club, of
the Fans Forum. We've got Pete Feasey, who's on Spencer's board. So we've got
non-exec director.
Nice connection into the club there. So I think there's a lot of energy, and perhaps most importantly, we've got Sarah Harris, who's employed by the foundation, and Sarah does an absolutely fantastic job, because all the things I'm talking about, it's easy for me to sit here and talk about this and talk about that, but this stuff has to be made to happen, and Sarah does an absolutely fantastic job making this stuff work on a day-to-day basis. So, I think the foundation, you're right, it is in it's in its infancy, but it's starting to have some real impact, because if you tot up all of the lives that we've currently touched, we reckon there's about 2,500 children that have benefited from the programs that I've described. And if you add in the parents or the families that have also benefited, as a spin-off from that, that's a lot of people locally in Chelmsford that are benefiting from what the foundation's doing.
Then you've got Louis Dunn as well, who played for us. Now he's at Malden, obviously.
Yeah,
Louis. He's still with us.
Yeah,
in the academy and the foundation.
Another aspect of the foundation is, of course, a number of the things that I'm describing, particularly the stuff that is related to schools, football in the community, clarets in the community. Our coaches, and Louis in particular, and Dan. These guys are really experienced coaches and know an awful lot about football, and because of their age, I think, the groups that they're dealing with identify with them. They see these are guys, they look up to them, they see they're guys that have, moved down the football path, and can be role models. I think there's a lot of value that's coming out in many different ways from what the foundation has started to do. And of course, it's a two-way street. I mean, what I want to do over the, next year, 2 years, 3 years, is that all of the stuff I'm talking about, there's just more of it, and we're helping more people, and there's more social value. But, there's also the other side of the coin, which is that from a club perspective, we would hope that that we're almost a sort of a marketing tool for the club as well. I mean, our primary goal is to create social value and for people to benefit from that social value. But the other side of that coin, I think, is that, if by virtue of that, people take more interest in the club, people feel good about the club because they can see the values that the club, have, then ultimately perhaps, more people walk onto the terraces. And so, it's a real win-win. I think the local community benefits because we believe that's the right thing to do. But hopefully over time, it will work the other way in terms of people taking interest in the club.
Okay, great stuff, Chris. We'll have another song. Ooh, and I think you're a secret headbanger here, because there's another one. The Cult here. This is She Sells Sanctuary. If you've got a question for Chris, maybe send us a WhatsApp message, 07568771825. and we'll speak to Chris more about the walking football after the. There's the Cult and She Sells Sanctuary, and it's the music choices of Chris Jolings, our special guest from the Chelmsford City Foundation, and we're just going to advertise how people can get involved with it and sponsor.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I think you called me an old rocker or something there, but I'll take that as a compliment. I'm just going to finish up on the foundation, and I'll talk a little bit about the walking football in particular. So I think two things. Firstly, if there's folks listening and you want to collaborate with the foundation, that would be fantastic. I mean, just to recap, we've got some partnerships and collaboration with our friends at Clarion Futures, Essex Activate, Morrison's. We've got Burkitt's, who are the main sponsors, but they've also sponsored the inclusive football. So I think one of the things that helps the foundation along the road is to have more friends and to have more collaborations, whether that is people that can collaborate by contributing money, that's ideal, but there are lots of other ways to collaborate and to make things happen that are not about money. So if folks are listening, if you're in a business, if you're in a charity and you think some of what I've said sort of sounds like it might offer an opportunity to do that, then contact me, and I'll give my details in a second in the way that you can do that. The other thing, I suppose, for those that have had their imaginations fired up by some of the things I've said about the foundation, what you might want to do is go to the foundation website, which is dead simple. It's CCFC Foundation, all one word, .org.uk, or you can phone and you can speak to Sarah, 07368 50 47 64, and if you want to book on some of the things that I've talked about, if you go onto the website, in the top right hand corner of the website there's a button that says book here, and if you just press that, there's stuff comes up and you can just book stuff. So but if you want to talk to me, then you can do, and I'll give, perhaps when we get to the end of things, better give me the chance just to give you my number and you can give me a shout. Yeah.
And your other passion, walking football.
My other passion is walking football.
You've been very successful with the Chelmsford City teams over the last few years.
I can't call you a liar.
Blow your own trumpet.
Well, it's worth saying a few words about walking football, full stop, really. So, folks might be aware or they might not be. I mean, walking football's been around from about 2012. That was the inception of the game. It's been the fastest growing sport in the UK in the last sort of 10 to 15 years. 60,000 people now playing walking football across the UK. Over 1,000 teams, walking football clubs. Chelmsford City Walking Football Club, we actually were in at the off. A fella called Terry Buck, who still plays, founded it in I think it was one of the Chelmsford Parks, with just a few people. We now have 170 members, Walking Football Club. The youngest is just late 40s, and we've got 5 folks that are over 80. You have to be over 50 to play in the Essex Walking Football League, but we've got a few guys that are just late 40s, and they just enjoy training with us. We train at Melbourne Park on the 3G pitch. If you're working, you probably want to come along to our Monday night session, which is 8 till 9. If you're not working and you've got a bit more time on your hands, we run a session between 10 and 12 on a Tuesday and 10 and 12 on a Thursday on the 3G pitch. It's something for everybody. We have got folks that just have got up off the couch, just want to get a little bit fitter. and enjoy recreational kickabout. And then we've got a few of us that don't know that we've reached this particular age and are in denial, and we're still competitive. And what does that mean in practice? So we've got 8 teams that play in the Essex Walking Football League, 2 over 50s, 2 over 60s, 2 over 65s and 2 over 70s. We also play in the National Cup, and as you quite rightly point out, Ben, we have been successful. So my over 65s Clarets, we've won the Essex Walking Football League 4 out of the last 5 years. We were runners up this year. We've played in 2 National Cup finals, but the success is, broader than that. We've got teams that have won at over 60s, over 50s, and we hope on the 4th of November we play our last 3 over 70s games. We're currently top with 3 points clear, and we're really going to try hard to win the over 70s Division 1, because it's the only age group that we've never won. So so we're still at it, and as I say, we probably deny that our age. Most of us have been playing football for at least 50 years. I've been playing as a goalkeeper for 65 years. I started when I was 6 and I'm 71 now, and still thoroughly enjoy it. There's a big value to walking football. It is about playing football, but there's also a lot of camaraderie. It's a great way of getting social inclusion if people feel isolated. There's a big piece of support that goes on around all of the guys. We've raised, it's not just about the football pitch, but we've also raised £16,000 for Prostate Cancer UK through some of our activities in the last 4 or 5 years. And a really nice story. It's not just about money. We've, out of our 170 guys, we've had about 12 guys, I think, that have experienced prostate cancer. Thankfully, all have survived and come through. But the last one turned to 1 or 2 of the guys and said, "Look, I've got to make some decisions about, do I go for this treatment? Do I go for that treatment? I understand you've had prostate cancer. What did you do?" And out of it was born something called the Bandy Boys. And the Bandy Boys, you might think, are a bunch of guys who've got bowed legs, but they haven't. They're wearing socks that are hooped socks, and they wear these socks at training, and it's a way of them as a group signifying to other people that it's okay to come and talk to them about prostate cancer, which is absolutely fantastic. And there's been several people that have said, "Is it okay to have a quiet word? I'm a bit concerned." So walking football is more than just kicking a ball,
So thanks very much for coming in, Chris.
Cheers, Chris.
So go to
pleasure. Thank you very much.
CCFCfoundation.org.uk. You can get all the details on there.
Phone number,
and we'll have you on.
Yeah, if you want. Phone number is 07850 725 691. That's my number. If you want to talk about the foundation or you want to talk about walking football, give us a shout.
Yeah. And have a look at the website. Great stuff. I think Paul, who's coming up next, Paul Morris, wants to get you on his show at some time. He's got Springers, I think, on the show talking about amateur dramatics. So that'll be interesting in the next hour.